Welcome to the Rich Bitch Show. I'm your host, Candice Lee, a soulful multi-six-figure business mentor helping you create next-level wealth and alignment in your life and business. I believe that having a high-quality business that delivers high-quality results will feed a life and future of wealth, health, happiness, and abundance from wherever you want in the world. I'm here every week to help you vibe higher, reclaim your power, and create the reality and wealth that you truly desire. So let's get started.
Today's question comes from Elena. She says, "Dear Candice, I've built a successful coaching business, but I'm completely burnt out. I feel like I'm working nonstop, I'm stuck in back-to-back calls, and I'm terrified to raise my prices or shift to high-ticket offers. How do I simplify my business and still have the time and energy to actually enjoy my life?"
I love that. Thank you for sending in your questions.
Thank you,
First of all, because this is going to be good, Elena. So if you guys ever have questions too, know that you can drop these into my DMs. I forward them to Kevin, and we are literally sitting here creating content for you and and having a whole celebration over it, apparently, to the Zoom screen. So for those of you watching video, if you haven't yet, make sure you're catching us on video. We're having a blast. Now, let's get into Elena's question. Burning out on back-to-back one-on-one calls. I want to make sure I have this right. Content is not converting.
Yeah.
Is she in a lot of launches?
She didn't say anything specifically about launches, but Elena, if you're hearing this, let us know if you're in a bunch of launches. I would say probably.
I'm going with the preference too of possibly she's like selling out low ticket one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
You're making good money. You know, I like to acknowledge that there was a time when you started that what you're making now was huge.
Yeah.
Huge,
Yeah.
right? Whether you're making 2K, 4K, 8K, 10K, 20K, there was a version of you that was like, wow, imagine if. I always talk about my story of like telling Brian, imagine if I could make 2K a month. Like, how fun would that be? What a time. So I always like to acknowledge that like you brought yourself this far and it's incredible. And now it's more so about recognizing what you don't yet know and what you could be doing differently that better aligns with your value. So as soon as I hear the word burnout, I take this as, okay, you've built against yourself. And it's not always from a place of sabotage or, you know, we don't have to create a meaning about it. It's literally just doing what you're influenced to do, building the way you've been influenced to build, right? You and I have both talked about that lots on the podcast because we've been there. You truly only know what you know. So the first place you have to go is one, your beliefs. And so we talk about that a lot, right? You must. Beliefs and your identity. And it's not that you have to go there and master that before you can do what I'm about to say next. I want to preference your beliefs and your identity is going to be the work that you do throughout a duration of a season, honestly, forever. But most importantly for this up level, this upgrade, this simplifying and scaling season is going to be about really taking the time to normalize a new set of beliefs, recognizing the old ones, letting them go, creating the new ones, and essentially rewiring the way that you see yourself, the way you see what's possible for you, how you want to be living and experiencing this while you restructure what you have going on in your company. This isn't a hobby anymore. Okay. You're making money. If you want to add, you know, another zero to your annual income, you know, go towards 200K, 300K, 400K a year, you need to treat this like a company. Yeah. And if you're already capped, that tells you something, right? How are you going to do more? How are you going to also have the vitality to continue to pour into more? So go to the roots right away. How can I structure this and make sure my framework, my foundations are so solid to build me all the way up as high as I want to go? And while I'm doing that, have the breathing room to, you know, dip off to the spot 2 p.m. or go grab lunch with the girly pops or whatever you want to do, whatever you want to do. Go to the retreat.
It sounds like Elena was struggling with, really wanting to simplify, make more, but also still have the time and energy to actually enjoy her life. So it sounds like she's in a place where she's making decent money, but she's not getting to reap the benefits the way that maybe she originally set out to when she started.
And I so feel you. And you know, this is like a regular occurrence. You guys get to hear this a lot. So I'm so glad that you're bringing this up. Making money is one thing. You know, you get this too, Kevin. Making money is one thing. It's great. It's fun. We love it. There's no shame around wanting to be wealthy, but you reach a point when you've done it in a misaligned way where you recognize, is it worth it? Is it worth it? And obviously those that are called for more and called to rise will know that there's just other ways, right? We're called to pivot. We're called to learn what we don't yet know. And it's not that you have to quit. It's not that you have to stop, but you have to restructure. You have to restructure your brain and your business, right? What you're doing isn't getting you where you want to go. Great. This is like the pivot. This is where a lot can change in a really quick period of time. So I would be restructuring your business to support higher ticket. So again, I'm not going to go right to high ticket. I know there was some hesitancy around the sales and the raising of the prices. That will come as you work on the beliefs and the identity. And as you begin to see the value of your work and that you can create the same results you're creating for private clients in a more higher ticket, close proximity, group style approach. Depends on your niche. Did she tell us what she's coaching? No.
I don't think so. No.
Okay. So let's say you're in the health space, right? There might be one-on-one components to a high touch container and a high level container. There might be regular group and one-on-one touch points. It might be just a group setting. It's going to be different for every single person. Creating your high ticket offer will very much, if you're doing this responsibly and intentionally, depend on what the client needs for that transformation. So from there, it's like, okay, how can you step out of these one-on-one calls? Well, you need to create spaces where you can support more, working less. And this is where I notice when I'm working closely with clients, pay attention as you do this to any beliefs that come up of like, well, how am I going to do that? Or how will I still get them those same results? We really start to tie our one-on-one time for money when we're in these early, pre 10K up to 10K month range. And it really is about breaking free of that and starting to recognize the power of your genius, what you're here to do, and obviously what you're doing very well. And now it's just time to reformat the way that you are doing that and delivering that so that they can have a better experience too, because ultimately you're going to feel better. You're going to have more energy. You are going to have more creativity, more things to share, more things to maybe create for these spaces, just a different energy to overflow into them. You're going to notice you're not resenting them. You're not huffing and puffing before a call. You're not wanting to hide from the world. You are actually going to become energized by your mission again. And depending where you're at, sometimes that feels really far away when you're in the rut of burnout and you're in the rut of, over delivering and feeling like you're overextending yourself. There's light. So really take these components into action and really start there. So this could look like so many different things, but when you're doing the high ticket restructuring, remember, you get to decide what high ticket means for you at all seasons, and that will change. And Kevin knows, and you'll know in a matter of time. Tell everybody within 4 to 5 clients, does this price need to increase? And your body will be telling you. You will know. We always know. So don't worry about the price. If you are like, well, it still seems low ticket, like you decide what higher ticket is. Do you want $1,000 reoccurring payments coming in? Do you want 2,000? Do you want 1,500? Do you want 800? Is 500 a stretch? Like, meet yourself where you're at, but also give yourself room to stretch your capacity and see yourself differently.
Totally.
That a big one. And I've had clients, recently, we just talked about one last week where we had a client quit her job who, like, charging more than $200 was a huge stretch. Now she's selling, high ticket one-on-one packages, creating high ticket revolving door spaces, and she has evolved in the matter of a few months. So
yeah, 30K months will do that to you.
Yeah, it happens. Those high ticket sales. You stack your proof. You stack your own proof. So keep doing the identity work. Keep checking with your beliefs. What do I believe to be true around business?
Yeah, that's
right. What do I?
So as far as breaking it down into like the 2 buckets of we restructure the brain, restructure the business. Let's focus on this one first. We're gonna do everything we can to give Elena an entire intensive on the air right now. So in terms of restructuring your brain, how do you go about it? Like, what's your process? Is it look like journaling? Does it look like EFT? Does it look like how do you go about shifting these beliefs?
Kevin already gets it. Always journaling. You guys, I'm a writer. I just need to write it out, reread it, read it to myself out loud. I love to write it out. If you are someone who struggles to actually put the pen to paper, speak out loud to yourself, listen to things, just take note of how you're feeling and what comes up for you. Maybe just bullet points, let it be simple, let it be easy. But I start with checking in. What are my current core operating beliefs? What do I believe is true for me? And ultimately, is that what I want to be true for me? So now it's like, okay, and what else? So what do you really want to be true for you? Okay, now how do you really want that to go? And once you're clear on that, I would highly recommend typing it out, writing it out, speaking it out somewhere, because it's going to ground you into this 2.0 version of you.
Mm-hmm.
And when I'm clear on that, I know, okay, what do I have to work on? Like, where are my gaps? yes, I want these things to be true for me. I want to believe them to be true for me. Do I currently? Okay, well, if I don't currently believe that they're possible, or there's limitation circulating around them, you're going to want to practice writing them out every day, speaking them out loud, practice EFT, a visualization, something that is a practice that works for you. If you're not somebody who likes, the hands-on tools at home, so to speak, go for a walk.
Hmm.
Listen to them over and over again in your ears and just walk and move energy through your body. Allow yourself to smile while you hear these new beliefs and truly picture who you would be, what you'd be doing, what it would look like while you hear this new 2.0 side of you. And you just want to continue to bridge the little gaps that are going on from 1.0 and 2.0 and start to normalize them into your mind, where when you hear it, your nervous system doesn't go like, what do you mean? How can we? Is it possible? My mom said no, like all of our conditioning past. And you just want to start to forgive the past one, let it go, remind yourself of the new one and remind yourself of the new one. I remember actually, Kevin, I think that was you were in that season. I would tell clients, write it on a piece of paper, tape it to your desk,
Yep.
and
Yep.
read it.
Yep.
Between calls, read it again. Done for the day, step back from your desk, read it again, and leave the area, right? Truly give yourself the time to normalize this 2.0 version of yourself. It doesn't have to be difficult. It can really be this list. Truly can
Totally.
be. And being in it.
And it sounds like the other really important steps. So like step two of the like the affirmations, the visualizations, everything, that's actually step two, because step
Yeah.
one is actually recognizing where you're at right now with compassion, with acceptance, with love, with forgiveness, and then looking for the gaps. Because I think that a lot of the
Absolutely.
time, too many people go straight to step two without really acknowledging where they're at. And it can kind of hold you back, because I think of it like a map. Like if you know where you want to go, but you
Mhm.
don't know where you are, then you don't know how to get there, because you don't even know which direction to go to it. So I really like the way you laid that out.
I like that because it also shows you like this is where you could let this be even more like more simple.
Hmm.
This is where it can become so much more simple for you because you're not trying to do things that aren't necessary.
Yep.
Like when you don't know where you're going, you're just like spinning in circles and you don't even know what to actually focus on. So you're focusing on everything or anything. And really, it could just be a matter of a few core new beliefs around certain areas and
And
then
that sounds
picturing
like
yourself as that version of you.
And that sounds like the perfect segue into the business side of it, because it's
Hmm.
got to be a similar thing, right? If you understand where you're at right now, point A, you understand where
Yep.
you want to go, point B, it's like the shortest distance is a straight line. And we all know we're living in a three-dimensional reality. There's certain resistances, life happens. We're not here to judge.
Hmm.
But if you aim for that straight line and you catch yourself wobbling and being off
Yeah.
course and doing things that aren't on that path, it just comes down to responsibility and intention, all the favorite words around here, of like, I got to come back to it. I got to come back to the path. And I think that that's why, like, mentorship is just so, so valuable, to have that guidance from
Yes.
somebody who's been there before, who's doing it the way that you want to do it now, to see your blind spots and to hold you in that place to help you anchor in to where you're going. So tell us more about like the
Yeah.
restructuring business aspect.
I love it. So and this is really, I was just going to note that we've talked about this a lot, but for those of you that you're just catching this episode the first time, this is why we have, this is why we have our kickoff calls. This is why we do the intensives that we do inside of my world. So if you come into a mastermind or private space, we get these intensives. You can book just a single intensive. This is like a must. Sit down and really ask yourself, where am I now? Where do I want to go? What's causing the disturbance of that, right? What is in the way? What is my bottleneck? Whatever language resonates with you. But essentially, what do I have to change in order to get where I want to go in the simplest of ways? This isn't about what all could I do to get where I want to go. It's about what can you remove? What can you actually hone in on and get so freaking good that you can actually like speed your way there because there's no resistance in the way. You're just like, like climbing your way up to exactly where you want to go, how you want to get there, staying in your lane. And it just creates so much. That's honestly where I feel like burnout originates from, is like
From which the
just
overcomplication.
spiraling, yeah, and spiraling in your mind of like, well, what all could I do? Oh my gosh, I just want to do all of it because I want to get there. What all could I do? And so now you're thinking about it at every hour of the day. Okay, but if you had an actual tailored plan to get you and your vision to where you want to be in a way that makes sense for your values, your vision, your lifestyle, your desires, you don't have to think about it anymore. You're going
Yeah.
to have a clear plan. You're going to have a daily method of operations to continue to move the needle, support your current clients, and continue to scale you. And that's that. You're going to get better and better at messaging, better and better at sales. You're going to obviously tweak and evolve things as you go. Like I would say with clients, we're tweaking, evolving things like almost monthly as they start to really go and grow and scale. But you have to get this footing. So, really looking at your structure, your offer delivery. What can I change? How could I actually be delivering the transformation I'm doing the most often with clients? You're usually
Most
in a
powerful.
really in a similar theme. Okay, well, how could you take that theme and turn that into more of a group experience, a hybrid experience? Try not to put names on it of like, oh, I have to run it live, or I have like, there's just so many ways that these can be created. And I find that because we are so influenced by what others are doing, we lose sight of how we want to be doing it and what would be best for our client transformation.
Mm.
So starting there, and when you have that in place, it's one like the biggest exhale you've ever had in your life, or at least in your career online. And you now have time to go sit at the beach and, visualize your future and start to get creative with your messaging and start to see, like, think about how you want to stand out, how you want to be seen, so that you're not just another health coach, another mindset coach, another like gut health or a nutritionist or business coach or marketing coach or whatever mentor. You actually have a brand that is highly seen and highly desired. And if you don't give yourself the time and the space to go there in your mind first, your body will never follow. Action will never follow. So you really want to flip the script and the perspective of how you're viewing things, because right now it's like, well, what else could I do? What else could I create? What else, what else, what else? And it's more of like, how can I set this up to hold me so that I know what's happening every single day and I know where to focus. And I also can see, okay, I've got, from the hours from 3 till bedtime, I'm free. What am I going to start doing for me? How am I, right? How am I going to start actually supporting the human behind the business? How am I going to go from this like hustling little coach to this company owner, to this leader? And so that's where I would go right away. And that, like, the pricing piece, like that will, I assure you, that will come. The more you develop your money mindset, the more you plug into our audios. We've got like a vault full of upgrading your wealth identity audios. The more that you do this work, the more that you heal what's holding you back, the more that you see things differently, the price increases come. The more that you hear positive feedback from clients, the more that you see client transformations, the more that you see the value in you, what you have to offer, what that gets to mean for them, because this is not about you, it's about them. The more you recognize, right, I would pay this.
Mm-hmm.
Right, this is worth it. And we don't tie our worth up to minutes with the client, how many minutes or hours we're spending with them, or what Sally has on her sales page, because you don't even know if she's getting sales, right? That has to
Come
stop.
on, Sally.
So it's like really connecting with how you want to run it and shifting that identity of, I need to worry about what everyone else is doing so that I can try and do it too. And instead ask, what the hell do I want? How do I want to get there? And what is the path of least resistance for me to get there, and build accordingly?
Yeah, I love that. Such a simple breakdown. And I think that that's something that at least I have always known you for. Like that's the branding
Mhm.
is scaling humans. It's a whole
Yeah.
human approach where you
Yes.
scale yourself. You focus on your growth, your healing, your own personal evolution, and you take your business with you as a tool to continue elevating your own life by sharing your knowledge with your clients, having a high impact that helps other people. I mean, that's just the greatest feeling in the world for me. And
Yes.
then it gets you paid for it. Like it's not about like chasing money anymore, or like you said,
Mhm.
what he, she, they are doing to get more money. It's like, how do I want to do this? What is the most aligned for me so that I can make this happen? So I
Mhm.
think if before let's do this before we close this one out, just to give Elena some really tangible ideas here for action items, is you
Yeah.
talked about the DMOs, which is
Yes.
daily methods of operation for those who are new to Candace lingo. But
Yep.
tell us about some of the DMOs that you have in your business or that you install into your clients' businesses that
Mhm.
allow them to scale as a human and scale their business at the same time?
I love that. And I'm going to kind of touch on content in that too, because I know that that was one of her points was posting a lot of content
Yeah.
and not getting the sales that she wants from it. And you guys know that's how I've been able to obviously create sales. We had another sale this morning, another sale last night. It was like there's 3 to 4 messages exchanged in the DMs. Like they know what they want and they're asking for it. You don't have to convince them. And they become the best clients, the most lifelong clients, like get the best results. It's magic. So we want that for everybody. But when it comes to your daily method of operations, it's what do you, and you could listen to this and take a note right now. What do I need to do on a daily basis to move the needle in my business, to close out any sales that are, in limbo, support my clients and support myself? And so this usually looks like obviously some self-care. So what does that look like? Does it look like a walk in a podcast, journaling, listening to affirmations? Does it mean, just getting in a high protein breakfast and a workout? What does it look like to take care of yourself? And what do you need that day, really? It doesn't have to be complicated. And then it's okay, well, what does my business need currently in order to support my clients? Okay. So I always believe in supporting myself, supporting my clients, and then the rest of the mission
Mhm.
because I feel like the most integrity when I'm doing that.
It's
So
like
now it's
moving outward.
yeah. And it just, to me, it makes sense because then I'm like so jazzed up from, well, one, I'm so full. And then I'm overflowing into clients. And now I'm like on cloud 100 if there was one. And I'm like, now let's take this and do the rest of our tasks. So from there, it's like, okay, do I have Voxer messages or Telegram, like communications with clients? Do I have questions to answer in any settings that you have? Is there DMs that are happening that you would like to bring to completion or at least continue to move the needle on? So the supporting side is now done. Now it's what actions? Okay, do I have any calls I have to be on? Do I have a podcast to do? Like how are things set up? And then from there, it's moving the needle. So am I promoting on stories? Am I showing up and actually selling my services, my products? Am I representing and owning what I stand for, what I stand against? Are you listening, Alina? What I stand against, what you walk clients through, why it's supportive and why it's different. Stop trying to fit in. Stop trying to be like everybody else. Stop looking at what anybody else is doing. It's literally robbing you of money. It's robbing you of money. If you are going to someone else's page before you create your own content, you are not going to create powerful content and it is not going to convert the way you want it to. Whereas if you actually centered and anchored yourself into who I am, what I do, what I represent, what I stand for, what I stand against, and then bring them obviously a little deeper into that, and share the offer that you help them do that in, you're going to convert a lot quicker. You're going to start to really warm up your audience. Your audience is going to start to see you as something different. They want to see you stand against the grain. They want to see what you think, what you value, what you do differently, your approaches. They want to see that.
They want to see you.
So they want to see you. Yeah. So, and your representation is going to create so much proof for them of what's possible, giving them that opportunity to picture, oh my gosh, what would it be like if I healed my gut? What would it be like if my body felt strong? How would I walk if I was confident? How would I go about my day if I did my inner child healing? Like whatever work you do, can you be a walking representation and own your shit for them to see that, to feel safe in that, to actually know that they can have it? It's not just some far off vision. They can start today, and here's the invitation to do so. And start to also know and ingrain in your beliefs that there are people in your audience every single day that are becoming more and more ready to buy. So you want to show up for that as your DMO. You want to make sure you're showing up on stories in some way or another, that you're getting content out that obviously represents the message and it's getting to what the client needs to hear. This is obviously always slightly different depending on what you're doing, and who you're serving. But you want to have your content scheduled to go out. At this point, I don't create content the day of, like ours is scheduled a couple weeks out, but you want to start to kind of stack that up for yourself, get ahead of the game, save yourself tons of hours. And really from there, you might have a few more DMs trickle in. You might have, a couple admin things you might want to take care of. What else is really needed? When
Mhm.
your offers are set, but really think about that. Like you probably still have a to-do list that's the length of a printer page.
Mhm.
And is it needed? So if your offers are set and you know that they're going to bring you in anywhere from an additional 2K to 10K per sale this month, what else do you need to do? You don't need to worry about another launch, another program, another email funnel, another landing page, another masterclass, unless, you really know it's going to be of the greatest service of your impact. right? So when a client starts to not feel bored, but like want to deliver something more, I'm like, hey, well, what could we create? Do you want to do a live series? Do you want to do a master class? Like, do you want to run a short program? Maybe it'll bring them into a different program. What do you want to do? There's a time and a place. Like, you have to always use your discernment when you're listening to me, but there's a time and a place. It really depends. But Elena, for where you're at, it's like, let this be simple. Get your offering set up in a way where you've got, likely 2 spaces going on if you want to get up to 20, 30K months. And you know that they can be circulating in at any given time. And your job is to simply show up for it, to represent it, to serve inside of it, and to obviously be taking care of yourself so that you can work on this new belief, this new identity, and obviously create this next level of your business.
You got that, Elena?
Thanks for coming out, girlfriend.
Yeah, thanks for writing in. And for everybody else, yeah, DM Candace on Instagram, DM me on Instagram, send us your stuff. We love to answer your questions.
Yeah, this was fun. Let us know what you think of this too. I want to know, do you want more of this? Do you have questions? What can we create for you? Send it in.
Cool. Thanks for coming out, guys. We'll see you next week.
Okay, future millionaires. Thanks for hanging out with me in today's episode. I cannot wait to hear your takeaways from it. If you haven't yet, take a quick screenshot and share this to your stories. Tag me so that I can shout you out for elevating and showing up for yourself. I want you to remember you were born deserving of a wealthy life, and now it's time to create it.